Chords and Notes Nation, guess what? I'm back. Those of you new to Chords and Notes, I am Brian. I am your host. I do a multitude of things on this channel, or at least I try to. Hopefully I do them well. I am a little bit different than other channels. You're not going to see a lot of technology going on here. There's not going to be any screen at this point. Headphones, I don't do the headphones. I have a perfectly fine system here for me. You are here to observe my reaction and to listen to it and agree with it or disagree with it as you see fit, as long as you do so respectfully. Thank you very much. Let's see. Technology is improving a little bit, working through some of the bugs that I've had. I'm having a little bit more time here to be able to approach these videos once again. And as you've seen throughout the whole history of this channel, there's been a lot of things that have changed. The background, most noticeably, for those of you who have been along for the ride, you understand why. For those of you who don't, I've gone through some changes here in my life, and this is where I am now. So, anyways, that's the background here. I am going to do a reaction to the song Solitary Martyr by Deathwhite. This band I just discovered yesterday. I did a little bit of research on it. They are a U.S. doom goth metal band out of the same vein as Katatonia. They've been described as having a mixture of sound. And obviously those of you who are familiar with my musical taste, Katatonia is right at the top. So when I found out that these guys were heavily influenced by Katatonia, especially the 1998 album Discouraged Ones by Katatonia, I was really intrigued and did a little bit of research. From what I understand, they were formed in 2012. Their first EP, Solitary Martyr, was 2015-ish, and they like anonymity. They don't want people to know who they are, which I think is actually, I don't know if it's a unique thing. I'm sure there's been bands who have done this before, but I think it's pretty interesting, because one of the articles that I read of theirs, they said that they're more interested in the music, and they want people to be more in tune with the music than in tune with the actual musicians, individual musicians. So, I'm going to start with the first album. I'm going to start with the title track, Solitary Martyr, and let's give this thing a roll and see what happens here. That's it. Okay. Well, as you can tell by my reaction there, I wanted more. I'm really, really, really intrigued by this band. I took some notes. While I was listening. It's just some things that stood out most to me. It's going to be mainly surrounding their sound holistically, rather than picking out specific one or two things that stood out the most to me. I haven't found a lyric sheet for these songs yet, or this song. So I didn't, even though the vocals were very crisp, they were very clean, enunciated very well, and sung very well. I didn't catch all of the lyrics because my ear kept drifting into the different instruments and the different textures and dynamics that this song had. And this is a 4-minute and 58-second long song, and it started taking me on a journey that, man, I wish it didn't stop. The drums stood out to me, very crisp playing, very tight, and here's what I really like. I like drummers that are more composers than just drummers. That they understand the dynamics of the song. They understand what certain parts of the song, certain phrases of the song need to be underscored with in order to emphasize whatever it is that they as a group are trying to emphasize in each individual bar or phrase or musical sentence. And this drummer at this point reminds me very much of a compositional drummer. I love the fact when you can get into metal that doesn't rely heavily on this double bass all the way through. Now here he used it, but he used it sparingly, and he used it to accentuate certain parts of the song. And I like it when it's used in a short spurt, much like a sprinter, and it's really tight, and then it kind of goes back to the single bass beat. So he did a lot of stuff really well, and he did a lot of stuff that I liked. Song structure, very, very reminiscent of the Swedish doom metal. There was a feel. There was that. I was thinking of any number of songs off of Discouraged Ones from Katatonia. Dead House would be one. Just the way that the chord progression was attacked by the guitar. It wasn't the same, but there were some similarities that my ear picked up on, and my brain said, "Oh yeah, that reminds me of this, or that reminds me of that." So there's a connection there. And this is an American band, and I apologize if I upset you guys, but American metal's been suffering for a very long time. It's been suffering from just being watered down, and Europe has done a really good job in the last 20 years of coming out with and maintaining a certain standard of sound musically. Now, here in the States, I could probably make an argument that all music over the last 20 to 30 years has undergone this victimization of marketing and sales, and people in suits and ties telling the artists, this is the sound that you should make. And that's a no-go in my book. I think art for the sake of art, the artist should create as they see fit, and if there's an audience, there's an audience. If there's not, there's not. That's just the way it goes. But when you take art and you start to water it down and simplify it and make it palatable for as many of the masses as you can, there's a degradation of integrity there, and it just kind of is really refreshing to hear an American band take something that the Scandinavians have been doing for a long time, and make it their own without, number one, being imitators, because I don't hear an imitation. I hear influence, but I don't hear imitation. I hear the mixing and the engineering of the album is very clear, very crisp, very refreshing in that sense. I love the fact that just maintaining a good, solid, clean vocals throughout. I've never been one to embrace the distorted vocals and the growling. I tolerate it with Opeth because I think Opeth, they do so much more musically that it's not just let's focus on the distorted growls. And there may be one or two other bands that I may be able to tolerate for short spurts with the vocals, but typically that's not been my thing. Or the high shrill stuff that you find in like black metal. I can appreciate the human voice and what it can do in its complete range of dynamics, but I think when you have a good voice, as this vocalist does, you stick with what you've got. You don't you let, how do I want to put this? You fit it into the style that you're playing. You don't let the style dictate how you're going to play or sing. Excuse me for a second, I was looking for the right word. And that's why I always have this issue with putting your thumb on something and saying you're this kind of style, you're that kind of style. You can be influenced by many, many different styles. You can still have a sound that fits within a genre of music, but you should have your own stamp on things. And I think this is what Deathwhite is doing. They're putting a good, solid American voice into a predominantly Scandinavian genre of music. And I really love it. I did. And I'm going to have a really good time, I hear, listening to the rest of what they do. So, that's all I have for this one. I hope I'm beyond the technical issues here with recording audio, video. I've been working through a lot of the bugs. I know in the past it was I had issues with the sound quality, feedback looping. I had an issue with audio video lag. So I'm kind of working through it with the technology that I do have and trying to bring something to you. So if you see this video, that means it's passed through the editing as much as I can, and I'm satisfied with the base quality of it. Be well, stay well, love one another, and I will talk to you soon. Don't forget to check the description below. You're going to find some links. I do have a Patreon page. Please visit it. Chords and Notes at patreon.com. And that's all I have for now. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.